When you're standing in a shop or scrolling through 100 listings for a shop floor dust extractor, the first thing that makes you pause is the fear of spending a good chunk of money on a machine that ends up sitting idle or worse, doesn't keep up with the mess you're actually generating. I've been in that spot more than once, especially when I started upgrading my garage workshop from a handheld shop vac to something that could actually handle drywall sanding and concrete cutting without choking. That's why I want to walk through the Makita VC006GMZ01 Twin 40V Max, ADV, XGT M-Class dust extractor the way a buyer would, looking at real-world use, hidden trade-offs, and where the money really goes. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, this isn't a plug-in unit. It's a battery-powered system built around Makita's XGT 40V Max. Actually ADV when the twin packs are paired, platform. That means you'll need 2 of those high-capacity batteries and a charger, which are sold separately. If you already own Makita XGT tools, the batteries you already have can double up, which is a real convenience. If you don't, you're looking at an upfront investment that can easily push the total cost past the $1,000 mark once you add the 2 batteries and a charger. The price point is something to keep front and center when you ask yourself, do I really need that much power for my typical jobs? Who should consider this machine? The sweet spot is anyone who runs a small commercial operation or a serious DIYer who does a lot of dust-heavy work. Think drywall finishing, sanding hardwood floors, or cutting concrete on a weekly basis. Those tasks generate fine particulate that can quickly overwhelm a standard shop vac. The Makita Twin Extractor's M-Class rating, dust permeability less than 0.1%, means it's designed to trap the kind of ultra-fine dust that can irritate lungs and mess up tools. If you're the type who vacuums up a few shavings after a weekend project and never worries about airborne silica, you'll probably find the extra cost and the need for batteries unnecessary. Now, let's talk about how the unit actually behaves when you put it to work. The 30-liter wet capacity and 40-liter dry capacity give you a decent buffer before you have to empty it. In my garage, I ran a 6-sheet drywall sanding session that would normally fill a 12-liter shop vac in under 10 minutes. With this Makita, I was able to get through the entire job without stopping to dump the canister, only needing a quick pause after the 3rd sheet to clear the filter. That's a tangible time saver for anyone who hates the stow pan dump rhythm. The twin filter system is another practical strength. Makita's automatic self-cleaning filters spin the collected dust into a separate chamber, which helps maintain suction longer than a single filter design. In practice, you'll notice the suction knob staying near the middle of its range even as the canister fills, whereas a conventional vac might start to sag after half a load. The suction adjusting knob itself is smooth and gives you fine control. Use a lower setting when you're just picking up larger debris, and crank it up for those fine sanding clouds. One of the less obvious conveniences is the hose's election dial. The extractor can accept both 28mm and 38mm hoses, which means you can hook it up to a standard Makita vacuum hose for general cleanup, then switch to a larger, high-flow hose for a floor sander or a concrete cutter without swapping tools. It's a small ergonomic touch, but it eliminates the need for an extra adapter in the middle of a job. Mobility is where the design really shows its intention for a shop environment. The rear wheels are large enough to roll over a typical garage floor without wobbling, and the caster locking mechanism prevents the unit from rolling away when you're positioning it under a workbench. I've taken it out to a client's site a couple of times, and the wheels handled the uneven concrete without any hiccups. That said, the unit is still fairly heavy, about 30 pounds unloaded. You'll need a decent amount of strength to lift it onto a raised platform or into a vehicle. If you're looking for a truly portable, backpack-style extractor, this one feels more like a stationary piece of equipment that you move around the shop rather than a handheld companion. Battery life is a double-edged sword. With 2 XGT packs at full charge, I was able to run the extractor continuously for roughly 45 minutes under a moderate suction setting while sanding a 48-sheet of drywall. When I turned the suction up to its maximum for a concrete grinding job, the runtime dropped to about 20 minutes before the batteries hit the low-voltage warning. That's not surprising. Higher suction draws more power, but it does mean you have to plan for battery swaps or have a charger on standby for longer jobs. If you already have a pair of XGT batteries that you rotate for your other tools, the workflow can be seamless. If you're